Is now a good time to buy a Lincoln home? This is the question many people are asking right now, and the answer depends on your circumstances. I pride myself on my ability to provide objective, fact-based information on the Lincoln property market so potential Lincoln house sellers, landlords and buyers can make the best decision for themselves. My role is to educate the potential Lincoln house sellers, landlords and buyers and to provide them with the best possible information available, not to convince them to do something they don't want to do. To answer that big question in the title of the article, is now a good time to buy a Lincoln home? It comes down to three things. 1. How much will you get for your Lincoln home when you sell it? 2. How much will you have to pay for your new home? 3. How much will that move cost you in ongoing monthly mortgage payments? To answer points 1 and 2 correctly, I need to address point 3, which relates to interest rates. The clickbait newspapers and websites are pushing messages to potential sellers and buyers towards the top end of the sensationalized scale. I prefer to define what is happening, or as I call it, the reality. On the face of it, it doesn't look good. The average 5-year fixed-rate mortgage has risen from 2.1% at the beginning of January this year to 6.2% in early November. Yet, even though the Bank of England increased the base rate by 0.75% on the 3rd of November, the average 5-year fixed-rate mortgage dropped by 0.22% between the third week in October and bonfire night. As interest rates go up, mortgage rates are coming down. Even though interest rates are projected to increase to 4.5% by the autumn of 2023. So, why did the Bank of England mention in the first week of November that the UK is facing a 2-year recession? Some might think this is controversial, yet the Bank of England wants a recession as it will aid in reducing inflation. It's as plain and simple as that. Instead of relying purely on interest rates to reduce inflation, the Bank of England is hoping if we go into some form of shallow recession, it will not need to increase interest rates much above the anticipated 4.5%. However, whether it's interest rates or a recession, both will slow the number of home sales in Lincoln and will indirectly affect Lincoln house prices. So will Lincoln house prices drop? By how much and what money will it save you if you wait? I have spoken recently in my property blogs about the Lincoln property market, and the prices that will be achieved for homes in late 2023 and early 2024 will be between 5 to 10% lower than what is being achieved today. There is no point in repeating why. Message me if you want those articles, but in essence, increasing mortgage rates, inflation and affordability will mean the price people can pay for a Lincoln home will be curtailed because of those factors. Let's assume a reduction of 10% in Lincoln house prices. Around 81 in 100 existing homeowners are buyers. When they sell their home, they almost always move up market. Hence, they will pay more for the home they buy than the property they sell. So, if you are in Lincoln and live in a 2-bed house with the average value of £188,753 and want to buy a 3-bed house at the average value of £228,557, the difference between both would be £39,804. If Lincoln house prices dropped by 10% in a couple of years, that £188,753 2-bed house would drop to £169,878, and that £228,557 3-bed house would drop to £205,701, meaning the gap would drop to £35,824, thus saving the home buyer £3,980. So, should they wait? Yes, until you look at the monthly ongoing mortgage payments. Let us assume our Lincoln homeowner has an existing mortgage of £100,000 and added the total difference of moving up the property ladder to their current mortgage. If our Lincoln home mover moved now, their mortgage payments would be £736.18 per month, assuming a 35-year mortgage on a 5-year fixed rate at 5.34% with First Direct. The other scenario would be if our Lincoln buyer waited a couple of years for Lincoln house prices to drop 10% to save the £3,980 mentioned above. Everyone acknowledges interest rates will rise in the next 2 years, so the monthly mortgage payments when they move, even though they are borrowing less, would be £885.88 per month, based on a 5-year fixed mortgage being 7.19% in 2 years. By waiting 2 years, it will cost the Lincoln homeowner £149.70 extra per month in interest payments or £8,982.05 in the 5-year mortgage term. The point is that because interest rates are forecast to go higher in the next couple of years, this provides potential Lincoln buyers with the prospect of locking in their monthly housing expenses by moving now. By buying now, it hedges against rising interest rates. Consequently, your monthly mortgage payments are going to be higher. It offers an opportunity, through remortgaging, to lower your mortgage costs should interest rates fall. What about Lincoln first-time buyers? I wrote an article on the Lincoln property market only a few weeks ago. Even when we looked at house prices dropping by 18% in 2 years, because in the 1988 house price crash, the market dropped by 20% and 17% by 2008, the savings made on the purchase price were blown out of the water with the 2 extra years of rental payments, the higher deposit and higher interest payments. The actual crisis in the property market today is the rocketing rental rates. Whilst a fixed-rate mortgage locks in your monthly housing costs, rental rates are rocketing upwards, and a tenant today can realistically expect higher monthly costs in the coming few years. Though most of the press generally focuses on the monetary aspects of buying a home, there are also choices on homeownership that are not exclusively based on financial decisions. Are you considering buying a Lincoln home? Buying a Lincoln home is very personal and predominantly driven by your life events like divorce and marriage, a job move, a new addition to the family, or elderly parents moving in, etc. These are often the influences that drive the decision to buy or not buy a home. Homeownership has always been a foundation stone of the British dream. Homeownership offers control and a sense of security that renting simply cannot provide. The newspapers often overlook these non-economic factors affecting the desire of a potential home buyer. The one important thing from the last few years since the first lockdown in 2020 is that people still want to own their own homes. They still want to have the castle to pull up the drawbridge when things get tough, a place that they and their family can call their own. Never forget that homeownership is much more than house prices and graphs. It's about the Englishman's home is his castle dream. Let us remember most people in the UK have been able to build and grow their family wealth through homeownership. That is why I like to provide the best information on the Lincoln property market so you can make the best decision for yourself and your family. Please drop me a line if you wish to pick my brain on anything discussed in this article.